Power isn't always loud. It doesn't always arrive with a crown, a gun, or a title. Sometimes it's silent, hidden, woven into the smallest details of life: how we speak, how we think, how we see the world. We like to believe we're the authors of our own lives, that our choices are ours alone. But are they? Think about this. Who decided what's considered normal? Who taught you what success looks like? What's beautiful? What's true? We're born into a world already scripted, a world where invisible hands have written the rules long before we arrive. Power isn't just in palaces and parliaments. It's in algorithms. It's in the curriculum. It's in the story you tell yourself about who you are. So, what is power? At first glance, we think of it as dominance, control, authority, the general commanding troops, the billionaire buying influence, the politician passing laws. But those are just surface ripples. The real power is deeper, quieter. It's the kind that doesn't need to shout, because it's already been internalized. Let's go back to Plato, who gave us one of the most haunting metaphors in philosophy, the allegory of the cave. Prisoners are chained in a cave, facing a wall. Behind them, shadows dance, cast by puppets illuminated by firelight. To the prisoners, those shadows are reality. They don't even know there's a source. They don't question the wall. They've never seen the outside world. Now think about this. What if you're one of those prisoners? What if we all are? Plato's cave is not just about ignorance. It's about control. When your world is defined by illusions, those who cast the shadows hold the power. And the greatest trick power ever pulled is convincing you that there's nothing to question. Fast forward to Foucault, centuries later. He didn't just see power in kings and laws, he saw it in the everyday. In his view, power isn't a thing someone holds. It's a network. It flows through systems, institutions, and even our bodies. The way hospitals classify illness, the way schools define intelligence, the way prisons reform behavior. Foucault said, where there is power, there is resistance. But the real danger, he argued, isn't when power is obvious. It's when it hides in plain sight, when it becomes normal. He introduced a chilling concept, the panopticon, a circular prison, where inmates can't tell if they're being watched, so they behave as if they always are. Eventually, they internalize the surveillance. They police themselves. Sound familiar? Think about social media, about surveillance capitalism, about cancel culture, about filters, algorithms, and metrics of approval. We're no longer forced to conform, we choose to. We compete for visibility, for validation, for belonging, but the terms are set by someone else. And this isn't limited to Western thinkers. Laozi, the ancient Chinese philosopher, offered a radically different lens. He spoke of wu wei, non-doing or effortless action. The idea isn't laziness. It's alignment, flow, harmony. The river doesn't fight the rock. It flows around it. It adapts, transforms, and reshapes over time. Laozi taught that true power doesn't dominate, it listens. It yields. It's soft like water but cars through mountains. In a world obsessed with hustle, force, and control, Laozi whispers another truth, that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is not fight but understand. Real power may lie in stillness, not struggle. Then we meet Machiavelli, the political realist. He didn't sugarcoat power. He stripped it bare. He warned that those who wish to lead cannot always afford to be moral, that appearances often matter more than actions, that fear can be more reliable than love. To some, Machiavelli seems cruel, but perhaps he was just honest. He saw the world not as it should be but as it is, a place where virtue, without strategy, gets devoured, where leaders must balance cruelty and compassion, image and substance, where morality is flexible, because outcomes matter more than intentions. This doesn't mean becoming a villain. It means becoming aware. It means seeing how perception crafts power and how those who don't master it risk becoming pawns. But what about the power no one can take? Viktor Frankl gives us that answer, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist. Frankl was stripped of everything: his freedom, his family, his dignity, and yet, in the darkest of places, he discovered a truth no tyrant could erase: the freedom to choose one's response. He said, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. That is power, not the kind that conquers nations but the kind that survives them, the quiet defiance of meaning, of hope, of inner clarity when everything else collapses. So, what kind of power truly matters? Is it the external, the ability to influence, command, reshape the world? Or is it internal, the resilience to stay grounded, reflective, and intentional regardless of what the world throws at you? Maybe it's both. Power without reflection becomes tyranny. Reflection without action becomes passivity. But when the two meet, when clarity guides strength, you get something rare: wisdom in motion. Most people live under power without ever questioning it. They internalize it. They obey it without realizing they've agreed to the terms. But philosophy invites us to wake up, to ask, why do I believe what I believe? Who benefits from my silence? What illusions have I mistaken for truth? These questions are uncomfortable, but they're necessary, because without them, we live in caves facing shadows, mistaking control for safety, obedience for peace. Here's the secret: you don't absolutely need to overthrow governments in order to reclaim power. Sometimes it all starts by reclaiming your own mind first, by choosing which perspectives you focus on more than others. When you're in a constant state of mindfulness, you become more aware of what you're allowing into your consciousness, by noticing precisely when you're being manipulated by the various aspects around you, by refusing to let fear, shame, or pressure dictate your values and beliefs. Because once you become aware of the systems that are shaping you, you can begin to shape yourself in a way that is more conscious and purposeful. And that's absolutely revolutionary and transformative. So take a pause right now. Close your eyes and ask yourself, what stories have I inherited from the past? What power have I unintentionally given away and didn't realize it? What would it mean to live consciously, instead of automatically following certain routines or habits? These aren't questions with simple answers, but the act of asking them, it's where the power to change begins. If this resonated with you in even a slight way, I'm sure it's already working, little by little, to inspire you to become a better thinker. You step out of that cave and embrace the wisdom within yourself. Like this video, if it sparked something within you, or even if it simply evoked curiosity. If you found this channel to be insightful or thought-provoking, then don't be shy. Subscribe for more ideas that challenge, provoke, and expand your mind. Also, be sure to leave a comment down below, letting us know which philosophical question would be your next inclination to explore, because this isn't solely about receiving answers. It's about seeking deeper, better questions, and you might be surprised to know that the power of those questions lies right in your grasp. It's in this very moment, waiting to be understood and embraced.